mean, it really did destroy my whole life. Like I was on the brink of homelessness.
Because you sold illegal shit. That's
terrible.
what happens when you do that. Cause and effect.
The primary problem is getting new clients. And just to give you a little background of why. When I got into this, I was broke. I had no money.
Can I stop you? I think you're probably a great guy. You have kids?
Yes.
You're probably a great dad. But I'm going to tell you right now, your backstory doesn't mean anything. Okay. I've coached over 1,200 people. I've never needed to hear a backstory. I'm sure that you love what you do, but at the end of the day, there are just problems that exist in a business like this, and they're the same problems, and they're easy to solve. One thing I've learned is the more people dwell on like their backstory and like why and all this, the less they can see just the ones and zeros that make up the why this is happening. You know, let me just identify a few things first, so I can get a lay of the land. I'm pretty direct, and you know,
I get it, man. I've watched your content for a long time. I know what I'm in for.
yeah, cool. So do you have more of a problem getting leads or closing the leads once you have them?
More of a problem getting them.
Okay, cool. Let's work backwards. When you do get them and you're on a sales call, let's say you're on 10 sales calls, how many people give you money?
At least 3.
So 30% close ratio.
30% close ratio.
And what is an average deal worth your company?
The one that I'm doing now, it's $2,000.
You're getting on the phone for $2,000?
Yes.
May I ask why?
Because I haven't been able to sell it without getting on the phone.
No. Well, why are you only charging 2?
Because I was selling it for 4. And I had more value to it. And I took some of that value away. So I cut the price in half.
Well, let me ask you this. When you've taken the value away, are people still getting the same results?
Not necessarily, because I took away the appointment setting aspect. So now they're just getting the marketing aspect and then they have to do the appointment setting. And I'll be honest with you, Dan, this is, I'm just going to be raw with you. I have a terrible fear of chargebacks. My whole life got destroyed by them in the past, where I lost everything because I lost all my merchant accounts. I did like over millions in sales in bootleg DVDs. So I understand that.
Well, that's why you had that happen, bro. You sold illegal merchandise.
Right. But I've also had chargebacks for really stupid stuff, like $37.20. And I'm terrified that if I get more chargebacks, they'll shut my stuff down. And then, so I try to keep it below a certain number.
We used to use Stripe, and with Stripe, that's definitely a fear. But then I got a merchant account through my bank, Chase, and I talked to the guy, said, what happens if this happens? I said, no, it's fine. We'll look at it. And I haven't had any issues since. So that would be like if you were in a car and the car had a faulty whatever part and you got into a crash, and it was like this rare thing, like recall thing that they recalled, and then you just didn't bring the car back in. You got into a crash and now you're afraid to drive a car. Like, I understand the emotional thing, but dude, don't worry about it. Like, as long as you keep your nose above water and you provide a good product, I mean, you're not going to get, like, we haven't even had a chargeback at closed deals. It's an irrational fear. I'll be straight with you. That is such a minute fear that if you don't get over that right now after this call, it's going to be very difficult for you to make it as an entrepreneur, because that
was probably my biggest fear, actually, because then
you got way bigger problems to worry about than that. Way bigger. Bigger.
But I mean, it really did destroy my whole life. Like I was on the brink of homelessness.
Because you sold illegal shit. That's terrible. What happens when you do that. Cause and effect. But are you doing that now?
No, everything's on the up and up.
Then chill. Then you're good. That's like saying I walked in a snake pit, flailing my arms and screaming, and I got bit by snakes. And now when I see a snake 30 yards away, I freak out. It's like, bro, like,
right. I get it. Yes.
You get it? All right.
You're right. I got to get over it. You're right.
Get over that. Like, don't done. Bigger problems. Okay. All right. So 30%. So what is your offer? What do you sell?
I sell a marketing package to solar business owners and solar sales reps. I advertise it as, I'm going to set you up your own in-house marketing department. I'm going to support you for 3 months. And then when I'm done supporting you for 3 months, you take it over and you own your own marketing department.
Oh, okay. And do you charge $2,000 for this?
Yes.
Why don't you charge $20,000?
Because I don't know if I can get that much.
Listen, if you told me that you were going to set up a marketing department for me, and then I was going to take it over and do everything you just said, and you said it was only $2,000, I would end the call. That would be like if you said, hey, Dan, I'm going to sell you this Rolex right here that's worth $18,000, but I'm going to give it to you for $500. I'd run because I know it wasn't real. Even if it was,
Right.
even if it was real, I would think it wasn't. You get what I'm saying?
I've never had a call with somebody who actually had the ability to pay me like 10 grand or more. Like the most I've ever charged.
That's because you don't think they have the ability.
$6,000. Somebody paid me $6,000 one time. That was the most.
How much does it cost to start a solar company?
Well, a solar company, it starts probably like $1 million. But to start a solar sales organization, which most of these people do, it costs nothing. You just say, hey, I sell solar and this is my team and now I'm a solar company. You have to figure out which one they are.
Are you able to attract people that actually own solar companies?
I could, but usually what happens is they don't have sales reps. What they have is they partner with solar sales organizations that send them jobs, and they're called EPCs. They install the jobs, and then sales organizations use them to.
Dude, I get 20 grand from people who don't even know what kind of offer they want to create. And you can't get 20 grand from people who sell solar. Like that's bullshit. I guarantee you that if I got on a call, one of your leads, I could sell them a $20,000 marketing package. Guarantee you.
I believe you could, because I've seen you sell things.
Yeah. But you can do that too, man. What makes you think you can't? Let me ask you this. If you got 20 grand for what you do versus 2 grand, could you do a better job?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, then what the are you doing? Really think about this. You're taking 2 grand to do a job. If you got 20 grand per client and you could really focus on that client, could you make them way more of a return?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can make them at least double more.
Okay, so what you're actually doing here by charging only 2 grand is you're intentionally hurting your client. You can't do that good of a job for 2 grand. You just can't do it. Like you can't.
Because what I have to do is I have to bring in multiple clients and then spread my attention out on all those. You're right. If I brought in a few 20 grand clients, of course I could do a better job for each one. You're right.
Can I get a couple commitments from you?
Absolutely.
You will charge 20 grand from now on.
I said I will do anything you say. So the price is 20 grand.
Okay, your new price is $20,000. It's not 2.
All right.
Let me ask you this. When you talk to a normal solar sales company, what are they normally making?
The good rep is going to sell like 7 to 10. So they're making like 50 grand plus a month on a good rep. So there's everything between like 7 grand and like 100.
And who are you talking to? The 7 or the 100?
Probably the 7, because those are my Facebook contacts.
Okay. So, hey, John, so listen, you're making $7,000 a month right now as a solar sales rep. Whereas the guys that are absolutely crushing it are making 100, and the guys that are in the middle that are crushing it, but they're not like top elite tier, they're making about 50 grand a month. Would you rather make 7 grand a month, or would you rather make 50 grand a month?
Obviously 50.
You make 50 grand a month. Okay. Well, what is standing in between 7 and 50? It is a proper marketing system. The guys at 50, they have a whole marketing system set up and it's flawless. What do you have set up for marketing? As you told me, nothing. What we do at Solar King is we set up a marketing system like the guys that at 50 or 100,000 would have. We set it up for you. We run it for you for 3 months, and then we hand it over to you and show you how to run it, and off you go. The investment for that is $20,000. Now, let me ask you, John, would you trade $20,000 to be able to go from 7 to 50 a month for the rest of your career?
Well, yeah, if I believed you that it would work, yes.
What would it take, John, to believe that it would work? What would you need to see?
Proof of results.
Proof of results. Okay, so you see how this goes? Right. That was called keeping control of the sale. First, I made you agree that the price was worth it. And then you said it was worth it. Then you said sort of an objection. You were like, if I knew it would work. Okay, so what's the objection here is I need trust. Right. So, okay, what do you need for that trust? Well, I need to see examples. Do you have an example of it working?
I do. Yeah, one of my most recent clients had made $60,000 off of like
Okay, what was that client's name?
D.
Well, John, I'm glad you asked that. So we have a client named D, and here I'm texting you a screenshot right now from D, who just talked about how he went from $7,000 a month, implemented our system, and is now at $60,000 a month. John, let me ask you, I know we were using the number 50, but would you be okay with 60?
Yeah, absolutely.
John, if you were half as dedicated as D, if we did half as good of a job, if we just had like a bad month and we just didn't do that good of a job for you and you only made half as much as D, would you be happy to go from 7 to 30? Would that be worth the $20,000 investment?
Yes.
What if you were the worst client we've ever worked with and you went from 7 to 15 every single month? Would that still be worth $20,000 investment?
Yes.
Do you have any other questions, John?
No.
Have you ever run a sales call like that?
No, I've never have. I've always done it. I've done it very conversationally. Basically, I read down my sales page and let them ask any questions, and then I ask for the order, right? Ask for the sale.
So that's not how you sell.
Well, I've never been professionally trained to sell.
I know. That's why we're on this call. I'm gonna help you. There's one thing I don't want you to ever do on a sales call again. I don't want you to tell the customer anything. I don't want you to make a declarative statement. No declarative statements. If I said, Russ, how can you help me get more leads for my solar company? What would you say?
How can I help you? Basically what I do is I run Facebook ad campaigns and I bring in their name, email, phone number, and their home ownership status. And I forward those to our automation CRM, which will start the process of getting them into an appointment with you.
Great. Never say that again.
Okay.
Instead, say, well, what we do for clients like D, remember D? D went from $7,000 to $60,000 a month.
Right.
Here's what we did for D. We ran a Facebook ad campaign using our proven frameworks we've experimented with over time. And we got him a ton of leads. We threw him into a CRM, and then we taught him how to reach out to those leads and exactly what to say and how to sell, close those leads. We did this for him for 3 months. Then we taught him how to do it himself. So he had complete autonomy over his business, and we sent him on his way. And now he's producing $60,000 per month. Let me ask you, John, if we did that same thing for you, do you think that you could hit your revenue goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so notice what just happened. I never told you I could help you. I got you to say I could help you. I did not make a declarative statement. I told you what our product contains, what we've done for other clients. And then I asked if you had access to the same thing, if you would get the results you wanted. And you said yes. Clients, prospects do not believe what you say. They believe what they say. So why say anything? Get them to say it. Okay. Number one, no declarative statements.
Okay.
Don't say we'll get you results. Don't say any of that. In fact, if you sell that way, there's never a client that can come back and said, well, you told me this because you didn't tell them anything.
Right.
They said it. Their words are much more persuasive than your words. I promise you, if you say that, you will make more sales. And the other thing is, like, listen, I'll be honest with you. D is dedicated. D is coachable. D listens. D does the work. I don't know you, John. I don't know if you can do the work. I hope you can. I would probably put D at a 9 from a scale of 1 to 10 in hard worker. Where do you think you are, John, on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm definitely up there. I'm at least an 8.
So given the same resources and help that we gave D, who's at 60 a month, and I would rank at a 9, if you were an 8, what do you think you would make then, given those numbers?
I mean, I would hope I'd make at least 50.
At least 50. Okay. And do you think that $20,000 investment is worth going from 7 to 50?
Yeah. It makes sense when you break it out that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
I didn't even tell the client what they would make. They told me what they would make.
Right. Yeah. That totally makes sense.
So far, is this helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now I'll change how I sell, because before it was kind of like most people that got on sales calls with me, like, knew me in some way. They've researched me a little bit. And so then I thought I would be the guy who has a conversation with them, and they're just like, oh, I like what you're telling me. And they buy my stuff. Right.
Yeah. That's like saying, I thought one day I would meet a woman and she would just tell me how amazing I was, and she'd cook dinner for me and always agree with me and never get upset, never cry. Yeah, that sounds like that would it's not realistic. That's not how it works.
But I had enough of a little bit of success with it that it kept on reinforcing doing it again, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. You get a little bit of success doing something wrong, and then that makes you believe that it's right.
Right.
And then
I just thought I had to do the wrong thing better is what I was thinking.
No. But it's okay, man. Like, most people don't have access to this type of information or mentorship when it comes to sales. I've bought sales courses and they suck. The only sales training that I've ever got that was worth anything was when I paid like 50 grand for private mentoring from world-class people. So it's okay, man. Like, this is like high level stuff. Have you ever heard anything like that? Like non-declarative statements?
No, I've always heard tell them what you have and then close them at the end. That's what I've always heard.
You can't be the 1% if you're doing what 99% of people are doing. And 99% of people are saying that dumb shit. You have this book?
I do not. Actually, I have the e-version of it.
Go to highticketselling.com. Okay. You have to pay like $10 for shipping. I'll ship you this out. Take it, put it on your desk. And every day before your sales calls, I want you to read this. Okay. That's number one. All right. Let's talk about marketing. What's your biggest problem with getting leads?
I've never learned how to run Facebook ads to get my own clients. So all my leads come organically or for referrals.
How many sales calls do you take a week?
Probably like 8.
Out of 8 calls, how many are you closing?
About 2.
At $2,000.
Yes.
All right. I tell you what, I have a program called the Daily Sales Huddle. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you 2 weeks access to this. Can you commit to meet with my team for 1 hour a day, every day for 2 weeks?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 weeks access to this to prove that if you have daily training, you can massively transform your sales, but you're going to charge 20 grand for what you do, not 2.
Okay.
You're going to 10x your prices. You're going to train with us daily, and we'll see what happens. Okay. And if you don't make a sale, you don't make a sale, but it's worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were gonna give me recommendations to get more appointments though, what would you have me do? Because a lot of these times I get like 8, like they're stupid shit, like, oh, I just had a question for you, so it doesn't really count as a sales call a lot of times, you know?
Well, see, why do you think that?
Because like I sell a bunch of stuff on my website, and like sometimes it's like a question about Grow High Level Snapshot that I sell for like $150, right?
Do they own solar companies?
Sometimes they're other marketers that want to buy my stuff and resell it.
Okay, out of the 8, how many people are in the solar industry?
I would say average like 5. Most of them either have solar clients or they want to get into the solar niche.
Okay, great. Hey, John, look, I get it. You just wanted to ask me a question, but it sounds like you're curious about the solar industry and you want to get started in it. In order to do that, do you think it would be helpful if you had a marketing system set up for you that would market it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, dude, just sell them stuff. You can still sell them. You know what some of the best leads are? Refund requests.
Why?
I'll tell you a story. One time a rep of mine sold a $10,000 coaching program to a client. She calls me up and she says, Dan, we got to give this person a refund. I said, why? And she said, well, he's very unhappy. He doesn't think there's enough support. And look, let me just refund him. He's not worth our time. So let me talk to him. So I get on the phone with the guy and I say, what's going on? And he says, well, you know, there's just not enough support. I keep buying programs like this. I can't talk to the main guy. I can't talk to you. I want this. I want this. I want that. I said, well, did we promise you any of that? And he's like, well, no. And I'm like, so you bought something, you knew what the expectations were. You paid $10,000 for it and you are unhappy because it doesn't have more than what was promised. And he's like, well, I guess when you put it like that. And I said, well, here's the thing. Everything that you asked for, we actually do offer, but that's my $55,000 mastermind. That's not my $10,000 coaching program with my staff. So you can have everything you asked for. And look, you just told me you were at $70,000 a month. You can afford it. So my question is, why do you keep buying things that are not going to serve you when you can afford the thing that you actually need and want? And he's like, well, that's a good point. I said, so here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm not going to let you keep this $10,000 program. I'm not going to keep your money because it's not going to help you. So I'm going to give you 2 options. Either I can refund you and we can part ways, or you can wire me $45,000 and I can get you the help that you need and that you actually want to get to the next level. And 10 minutes later, he wired me $45,000.
That's amazing.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Like your belief that
Right.
these people aren't actual, you can't sell them something.
No, now it's making sense because I have a guy that's driving me nuts and I charged him $4,000 and he's kind of like frustrated and angry at me, but he's not doing anything right and he's not following the directions. He, instead of going and doing a real sales call, dude, he's doing like a pre-sale call for 15 minutes and then he's going to maybe set it up. Everything he's doing is wrong and I could fix it all, but I just don't have the resources to do it because he didn't pay me enough.
See this cup of coffee?
Yep.
This cup of coffee is $4. It's a really good cup of coffee, but sometimes I leave this much left in the coffee. I let it go cold. I don't want to reheat it. So I go buy another one. Now, if this cup of coffee costs $30, do you think I would leave this much in it?
No, you'd drink
Why
it
not?
all because you paid more for it.
Even if it was the same coffee?
Yeah, I think you'd probably drink it all.
Right. So you're charging $4,000 and you're expecting someone to give you the attention and the collaboration and the cooperation of somebody that you would charge 20. Why don't you just charge 20?
I never did that before and I don't know if I can.
Do you have any kids?
I do, yes.
When you had your first kid and you became a father, did you say, I've never done this before, and you just decided to opt out, or did you just do it?
It was an accident and I had to figure it out.
Exactly. And did you figure it out?
Of course I did. Yes.
Well, why would this be any different?
I don't know, man. I feel this anxiety welling in me when I think about it. I'm just being honest with you. You know, I know that's weak, but
It's not weak. You're a human being. You're not a robot. You're supposed to feel anxiety. Champions aren't fearless, man. They just do it scared.
So my fear is that either my offer is not good enough or my sales skills aren't good enough. And I pitch a $20,000 offer for a month and I don't make any sales. And then I'm just like negative all my bills for the month because I didn't sell anything. That would be my biggest fear.
Scarcity mindset. I tell you what, if you do this for a month and you don't close a sale, I will call one of your prospects that didn't buy and I will sell them for you at $20,000.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that you're going to make a sale.
You don't even see my offer and you know I'll make a sale.
Yes. I don't care about your offer. I care about the result. You just told me that you have a client that you took from, where did you take them from to 60?
In that particular area, they were doing 0. So they went from 0 to 60.
You took them from 0 to 60. I don't give a shit what your offer is. I don't care what is included in it. You took someone from 0 to 60 grand a month. That's all I need to know.
All they have to do is follow the directions and they will.
Yeah, I know. Russ, I'm telling you to charge 20 and to do what I say.
Right. All right. And you're telling me to follow directions. I got you.
All I got to do is do what I say. No,
Right. I got you. I got you.
Couple quick questions before I let you go, and then I'll get you hooked up with my team. What is the biggest problem with marketing? Are you strictly relying on referrals, so you're not actually going out and marketing?
Almost everybody that comes to me is in a group where they see me post something. So that's where most of my stuff's coming from, and then referrals from other people.
Do you own these groups, or are you a part of these groups?
I'm a part of them.
Show me a post you made. If you are a solar sales rep, the worst thing you can do to get leads is post your affiliate link on ads other reps are paying for. Okay, first of all, Russ, number one, you don't do this. This is super not classy, because here's what I see as a guy that's not really providing value. You're saying, hey, world, I'm not going to actually provide any value. I'm just going to on this guy. I'm going to expose him by name, not even black out his last name and say how horrible he is. Basically, you're saying you suck, because that's something really sucky to do, man. Like, it's not classy. It makes you look way worse than this Keith guy, way worse. This is a guy who just doesn't know how to do. He thinks he's doing the right thing, but he just doesn't know.
This guy follows around my ads and comments on them to get people to buy solar from him.
Great. Go sell him something. Fantastic. Hey, Keith, I noticed that you're always commenting on my post to try to sell. That leads me to believe that you don't have enough leads. And, I really like to help you, man. Can we hop on a call and I'll show you how that you can get a lot more leads than commenting on people's posts? That is a sale, bro. That is not someone you should make fun of, call out by name, and ridicule publicly.
You're right. You're right. Should I delete that?
Yes. And never do that shit again. It's okay, because what you're doing right now is the same thing he's doing. That's the funny thing. He doesn't know how to market. And so he's doing something that is rather unclassy. You don't know how to market for this. So you're doing something unclassy, and then you're ridiculing him for basically doing the same thing you just did. You understand what I'm saying, right?
I do. Yeah. I honestly, instinctively, I knew when I did that was beneath what I should be doing.
Put that up, bookmark in your head. Shouldn't do that. Move on. Don't dwell on it. You made a mistake. Move on. Learn from it. All right. So many of you like to bag on solar. So again, another negative post. Dude, this is trailer park marketing. This is trailer park marketing. This is white trash marketing. I'm just going to tell you right now. This is not how you attract the right clients. It provides no value. At no point does this post do anything to generate you leads. It just makes you look bad. Don't do that. Get rid of it. Don't do anything like that. Show me another one. I just made a badass calculator that will help you close sales. Happy to share. This is called spam. You're spamming a group. This is a group you don't own, and you're directly pitching. Don't do that again.
I'm doing all the wrong things.
Yes, you're not doing anything right. That's correct. Right. Which is a great news, because you know what that means? That means that if you start doing things right, you're going to make a lot more money.
The thing is I've trained a lot of people. I have clients of mine other marketers that are making like 50 to 80K a month. I know I have this in me to really blow this thing up, because I've trained other people who did it with my knowledge, right? I don't know. Something has just stopped me from taking it. Maybe it's the sales aspect.
You never take your own advice. I've struggled with that too. It's so much easier for me to come up with a marketing campaign for a client than it is for me. It's 10 times harder. When you're so close to something, you're too close to see where you're going wrong. You have to have somebody that stands back. Even if they're not as good as you, when they stand back and they look at the whole picture, they can see what's going on. They can see what's wrong. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you're showing me all kinds of things that were wrong, and I didn't even see that.
No more drama. You're 46 years old, man. You're not a 16-year-old schoolgirl. No more bitching on Facebook. No more. Value. Value. Just value. Okay. With that said, I want to end with one more question for you. I don't know if you've bought marketing courses in the past or what, but how is this advice compared to the advice you've got elsewhere?
Yeah, I never got advice like this. This is totally
How much
different.
have you paid for advice? The most you've paid for advice?
$10,000.
How does this free advice compare to that $10,000 advice?
This is way better. I mean, that was basically a course with some group coaching, and I'm getting one-on-one with like you. So, really appreciate that too.
No problem. The reason I did it for you is because I had like 20 people tell me that you deserved it the most. And I also felt like you would actually do the work. But it's going to be like, I'm going to tell it to you straight. If I see something you're messing up on, I'm not like, we don't have time to sit here and have a therapy session. I'm going to tell you, dude, this is not good. Don't do this. And I'm just respecting both of our times. How much would it change your life if you made 20, let alone 40 or 60 a month?
20 grand a month would solve every problem I have. I made a lot of stupid mistakes with finances, and it would just pay that
What's having that debt doing to your life?
It's just looming over me, man. Like I sit here and I stress and I think about I need to make money so I can pay off this debt so I can be free, so I don't have to spend so much time in this office and I can go out and spend more time with my daughter. I do the best I can. You know, you see I get emotional because
I get it, man. I got a kid.
when she sees her dad in the office all the time, it's like, well, you know, daddy's in here trying to make money, you know. So at some point I want to be able to take a day off and spend it with her without thinking, shit, I got to get back to John, whose leads aren't converting, and he might do a chargeback on me. You know, like,
yeah,
I want to have a clear head one day.
Look, you're gonna charge 20. You're gonna take a wire, and you're gonna be able to spend that time with your daughter. That's what happens when you sell what you're worth.
Thank you so much, man. Like I have never had anybody just out of the goodness of their heart spend over an hour with me like this. Like, everyone has a profit motive, and I know you do ultimately long term, but I know in this particular moment you're just trying to help me out, and I just want to say thank you so much, heartfelt, because people don't do that, man. You know, and I really appreciate that.
I definitely want you to be successful. I definitely want you to do it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. No problem.